Welcome back to X4 Foundations. Diamant here. So we are going to begin this episode by beginning our transition into stations. We've been using auto miners before, but now we're going to consolidate them into building our own economy instead of propping up the NPC economy. Now, it's actually going to involve 2 stations, not just one. And there's actually a reason for that, and I'll go over it. But before we get started with that, there are a couple of things that we need to buy. Now, just to show you or remind you where we were on the map, let me pull up here really quick. Last episode, we ended by expanding out into the Reach. So we've got an auto miner that's out there doing his thing now. That's him right here. So he's gonna mine and do passive income, just like all of the rest of our auto miners. But what I would like to do is take some of these auto miners and consolidate them into one of our own stations. Now, there's a lot of different factors that can go into where you build stations, what type of stations you build. It depends on what you want to do. It also depends on the economy as it's unfolding within your game. Like all these stations, these like equipment docks, these wharfs and starports shipyards and wharfs, they're all static. So they're going to appear in the same place every single game. A lot of these though, like these hull part factories, all these manufacturing plants are not static. Even the pirate bases, those are randomly generated. Now the game does have a tendency to build certain things in certain areas, but you don't always know, like there won't always be a refined good complex right there in Second Contact 7. It just happened to build one this game. So that's going to factor into where you build stations and what you're feeding back into the economy. But for our sake, we're going to use these Second Contact systems that we've been working with since the beginning of this playthrough, and we're going to build a station here. We're going to build it right into we're going to build, excuse me, I correct myself, we're going to build 2 stations. And again, I'll get into why in Second Contact. And we're going to start small. Now, one thing that we are going to need, though, you will notice, and I hope I'm not over-explaining this, but let me go back to the map. Let me go to, actually, go to Property Owned. Let's go to our, oops, let me select things correctly. Let's go to Plan Build. So if I were to build a docking port, which is generally what you want to start with on any station, which would be this right here. This is a 1 medium, 1M, 6S standard dock area, and what that means is it has 1 space for a medium ship, and it has 6 of them. You can see them here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots where a small ship can dock. That's not gonna do us much good. That's the one that we actually know how to build, but that won't do us much good here because we're gonna build a station focused on mining, and all of our miners and most of the NPC miners are actually going to end up being medium ships. There are large ships around, like large miners, but the majority of them are going to be mediums, and all the ones that we own are medium. So having 1 medium space to dock for our medium ships is really just not going to work. They'll be all lined up and backed up, ready to deliver or extract wares. Other people are going to be coming into our station to buy things in medium ships, and they're not going to be able to get in because there's only 1 spot, so everybody's going to be waiting for that one guy to finish so they can get to the medium spot. We could build like a whole bunch of these, but I mean building like 8 different 1M 6S standard docks, like 8 of these things, I mean, it would work. We would have the medium docking space that we actually require, but it would be a waste. We'd be spending a ton of money, and we would have like 20 or 30 different docking spots for small ships that we don't actually need. So to alleviate that, now you'll notice our headquarters still hasn't actually gotten the resources that they need, and we're gonna help them here in just a minute. But before we do that, let's go to the representative of the Argon Foundation. There are a couple different ways to get blueprints. Some of them, you know, less legal than others, but we're gonna do it the legal way for this playthrough. So I would go to this representative here. And I'll show you diplomacy actually factors into this in a bit, and we're going to set that up by the end of the episode as well. So let's say, or at least the beginnings of it. So if I go to the representative and I say, buy a blueprint. Now, what we're looking for are modules and docking modules. These are all the docking modules. These bigger ones are for large ships. So a pier, a 3-dock pier, which would mean 3, large ships would be able to dock there. This one large ship will be able to dock there. What we want is something with more mediums. So we actually own the basic dock and the standard dock. Let's go ahead and pick this one. We're gonna do a 3 medium, 6 small standard dock. There is an 8 medium. We're not going to so much worry about that. We're going to get this guy, and we're going to end up building 2 of these on our station. Because, I mean, this 8 medium, that would be nice, but we do want some small ship docking spots on our stations. And 3 mediums is going to work out really, really well. So it's going to cost us money, cost us credits at this point, and we're good to go. So now I actually have a docking port that we can actually use. So if I go to Shift D to fast travel back.
Vanguard.
Sir.
We're gonna do 2 things now. First, we're gonna head out to second contact, and we're gonna get our station started. And once that's done, once we've got the station laid out, then we're gonna head back to our headquarters because we need to help our headquarters get a little bit of a leg up. And so we're gonna hop back and forth between the new station or stations that we're building and our headquarters to get both of them propped up. But anyway, I'm gonna cut out here and I will cut back in when we're ready to set up the stations in second contact. All right, so we are back, and let me go into the map here. We are in Second Contact 7 is where we're going to start building our stations. Now, you don't actually have to be in system in order to build a station. You can do it basically from anywhere. You just place your plot down. But I wanted a good visual representation of the system so that I know where to actually put it. And you'll notice the traffic. See all these traders here? These guys are the people. These are the people that are actually going to be stopping at our station to purchase our product, and most of them are mineral miners or mineral traders, or at least a lot of the time, and they are medium sized. That's why it was so important for us to get those medium docks, because the smaller 1 medium dock wasn't going to work for us. So that's the reason to do it, and you can see the traffic. Also notice the tons of traffic going in between these 2 gates naturally. And so our placement for a station, let me stop just so I don't fly out of coverage here. Our placement for the station is going to be right in this middle section, probably above and below, since we're going to be this center line here. Since we're going to be doing 2 stations, we're going to have 1 here and 1 right here. Now we do need to raise them up, and the reason is, and this is a good reason for you to look at the location before you build the station. There's just nothing but rocks here. So that covers the entire center axis. That entire X and Z axis is covered by minerals, which is great for mining. But if we just did the default placement for a station, we might be putting it right in the middle of all those rocks, which is definitely not what we want. So here's what we're gonna do. Now this is a little finicky. Oh my God, look at this. So here's this guy mining. Maybe he's in coverage. Yeah, he might be okay. But anyway, this is our auto miner. Oh my God. I've got to move these probes. So I'm going to have to, probably a little bit later off camera, I'm going to crunch these probes in. Not that side, but this side, this side. That way they all overlap nicely here. Because look at him mining here. He could mine here, here, or here and have good coverage and be more efficient. But he's right on the ragged edge and he's mining right here. So that's a huge gap. Of course, he picks this area right here, so we're gonna have to take care of that. But anyway, that's just something, there's a million things you're gonna notice as you're building up an economic empire to where like, oh my God, look at this oversight, and then you gotta fix it. So this mining probe needs to come in. So those are the things you'll notice, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, back to our station. We're gonna go ahead and build a plot. So you can say manage plots. This is the default size. We're not building anything huge. This isn't going to be some big manufacturing complex at this point. All it's going to be is a way station. It's going to be where our miners go to drop things off, and where their miners come to, where their transport ships come to buy our product. And we're going to have miners that are going to be sellers for us that are going to send that off out into all the stations in the nearby systems to sell it to them. So we don't need a ton of space because we aren't going to have a whole ton of storage, and I'll explain why. You want small storage, and we're not going to have a bunch of manufacturing models. modules. Now, you can expand this later. You can make the system, you can make your plot bigger in any direction that you want to. It'll cost credits, but it's always something you can do later, so don't worry about it. If you're just building something small and you don't have a ton of cash, like we've got about 1 million credits, so we're doing okay, but we're not rich. So it's good to keep the cost down. So if I create a plot, you'll notice the pricing changes based on location. If I'm building closer to these gates, that's about 400,000 credits, the tax we're gonna have to pay to Antigone to build here. If I get further away, it goes down. Now it goes down to about 75,000 credits, which is totally manageable. If we were to make that bigger, the plot size bigger, that initial cost for the plot is gonna go up. So now I'm gonna place it down. Now this will get a little finicky and I'll cut back and forth if I spend a bunch of time having to mess with it, but it can be a little weird at times. So I'm gonna place this plot down here, and you're gonna notice that it's still even with the plane. If I rotate the camera, it's gonna be in the middle of the rocks, and remember, we didn't want that. So let me see if I can get this on the first shot. If I can't, then I'll cut back and forth. I can do right click to rotate, so I can start rotating the plot if I want to. Now I'm holding the left and the right. If I let go of this, and then I select, let me rotate the camera, and select it. Now I can raise it up and down. It's a little finicky. As you can see, it doesn't necessarily like it. We went up a little bit, and then a little bit more. There we go. Now you can tell, like, it's a very finicky system. There are times where it'll just let me go straight up. Even trying to hold down shift and control, it still doesn't always like it. It tries to snap it to a certain plane, but that should actually work. See how it's above the plane? So this will stick it above all of those rocks and we should be good to go. Now, if I try to go a little closer to here, nope. Yeah, this will let us move it around. Again, you do have to mess with it. It's very finicky when it comes to height, but it did actually let us raise it above the plane, and it's at a reasonable distance out, but still in between these two gates. So I actually like that. Now, don't forget, you want to buy the license. Yeah, see how it's raised above? Don't forget to buy the license. If you place and it even tells you here, if I just place it down and say just continue, that's actually an illegal act. It's considered aggressive, and it can be a good way to declare war, but the sector owners will actually start to attack you, basically, because you're invading their system. So if I buy the license here, we now own this plot of land. And then we can right click on it, and you'll notice it's up here in our list of plots. This is our headquarters. This is the second contact factory that we just built. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna plan the build. And we have nothing. We are completely empty at this point. What I like to do, and there is no right or wrong way to do this, but we are not gonna build a dock, a large pier. However, I like to place it as a starter. So if I go here and I try to go up or down, it's gonna be difficult, and we don't have a plot that's big enough. Okay, never mind, forget I even mentioned that. We're gonna go with a medium plot. We'll have to expand it out. Sometimes I like to place the large dock, and then I know I have space for it later on, but that's not gonna be the case here. All right, so let's go with our 3M6S that we purchased, and we want to place it in a good central position. So we're gonna place it right here. All right, are you trying to attack me? Is this what we're doing? We'll see if he starts shooting us. Well, we should be able to hear it. Hang on a second. You want to discard changes? No. Let's confirm the module changes, because we know we're gonna do that. And then let's see where this guy is coming in to attack me from. Let's center the camera. That's him right here. I don't know if we can actually handle him or not. Let's find out. I think that's like a medium-sized ship, or it's much bigger than us. Now, he's not gonna do a good job of We've got a nice fast ship, but you'll notice, like, our guns are not big enough to do this. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to handle this. So what you can do, if you get into trouble, we're gonna be faster than him. Let's look at where we're at. There is a Antigone laser tower right there, and there's also a defense station right here. So let's head towards the defense platform and see if he follows us. He's turning our way, and we'll see if he comes in. If he starts to pursue...
Minotaur, Raider.
And I can see his speed. See how he's 322 meters per second, and he's 13 kilometers away. All right, I think I want to drag him under the turrets because he's going to keep causing problems for us. So I'm going to head towards the platform. Well, I don't need to. We're going to let the defense turrets do that for us. So I'm going to drag him over and play games with him just because. Now, right now, he's not shooting us, so we could just hit travel drive and escape, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to mess with him for a little bit, and I'll cut back in just a second. All right, here we go. So we're actually approaching the defense station now. Now, you can use this trick, and he's foolish enough. He'll follow us. I'm going to slow down so he can start catching up. Yep, see, there you go. See, now we can't go into travel mode, but it's okay. See, the guns turn on and all the alarms turn on the defense station. So now he's going to be under their guns, and they're going to melt him. So that's a medium-sized ship, and he's gone. So that is a way to defend yourself if you need to in system. The Xenon and the Ka will do that also. So you can actually dive under the station guns if you want to. All right, so we're gonna chill out.
Engine stopped.
And we'll actually do it right here. Now, hang on a second. Is that a... He didn't abandon ship, did he? I think he did. Hang on a second.
Sentinel.
Hello there.
Oh, no, that's... Okay, that's her. That's her in system. I thought that was him. I thought it was like, oh, we got a free ship, but we don't. Sometimes if you're fighting and you can actually, and you're doing the damage, there's a percentage chance when he gets low, he'll ditch and he'll eject, and you can actually then go and claim that ship. So I thought that was her, but it's not. But anyway, yeah, so you can dive under the guns of a station if you get into trouble, and with the ship that we have, there's not a lot that we can really handle. We can only handle basic things. Anyway, back to what we were doing before, which is our station. So let's go back to planning our build. And we've got our station right here. So we placed this module. I'd actually like to move it over a little bit so it's a little more centered along the plane. And we'll just start with that for now. Now, I like to leave my options open. So I'm gonna put a cross section here. You don't have to do this, but I actually I want the option to expand to more docks if we want to, and I want the option to build up or down off of here if I need to. So these little cross sections pieces right here, they're pretty cheap and they're inexpensive and don't take a ton of resources to build, but it has snap points in all directions so that I can build in any direction that I want to. So now let's go ahead and go to our storage, and we're gonna stick to small storage. So these small container modules that we already had, oh my God, you're gonna notice I actually messed up. I apologize, guys. There's something I forgot to build or forgot to purchase, and I'll show you exactly what that is. We have container storage, and we don't need container storage. There are 3 types of storage in the game. There's container, there is gas, and then there is solid. We need solid container. We need solid storage. Excuse me. Let me get... No, don't discard the changes. Let's confirm those changes, and then I need to fly out, and I'll be right back. Like this Mercury, like I'll show you the information here. Let's go back to, might be better to show you here. Let's go to this Argon Wharf, and we're gonna build ships. I just messed up, which is great. You might make this mistake too, so there you go. I'll pretend I did it on purpose for teaching. You're gonna notice that this miner has solid storage. So container storage, solid storage, liquid storage. Condensate storage is salvaging. That's like an expansion thing, so we're not going to worry about that. But containers are all of your finished products, like energy cells and anything else. Anything you use a production facility for and it needs to be transported around is container storage. Solid storage is your minerals. This is going to be ore and silicone. Liquid storage are going to be like your gases, like your helium and your methane and things like that. We need solid storage. The only storage container we have right now is we have container storage is what we're able to build, and that's what we put on our headquarters, but we need solid and we don't have it. So let me go get that now that I screwed that up, and we'll fix our mistake. All right, so I'll cut back in really quick. So as we're traveling, we can actually get our station started. So now I'm heading over to get the module that we need. Let me select this. Let's go back to our planning our build. Those two, this cross section and the dock, we actually could just build the dock and we technically have a station at that point. But let's go ahead and accept this estimate to give him cash in order to purchase stuff. And then let's see if I can see a builder anywhere. We may or may not be able to see one right now. Let's expand out to the map. Nope. He's busy. Argon Construction. Yeah, we don't have good satellite coverage, so we are not able to see any building ships at the moment anywhere in the map. The only one that we can see is busy, and that's probably the one that we hired up here. So let me head up to the docks, and I'll show you what the build ships look like, and we'll hire one of them.
Entering system.
Oh, there we go. Actually, I will cut back in here because we found what we needed, and he's actually traveling in the same direction as us. Just so you can see what these guys actually look like. Oh, he's traveling faster than us right now, but we'll catch up in a second. This is a construction vessel. Now, at least this is what the Argon construction vessels look like.
Travel mode deactivated.
Let's get close to it. And if you're curious, I'll show you another mechanic. Oh, we're not close enough to him. Let me get really, really close. Now, he will eventually pick us up.
Engine stopped.
So I stopped my engine, but you'll notice we're still traveling. Larger ships will grab you.
Docking print.
And since we need to talk to him, let's land. But they'll grab you. Their gravity will take a hold of you, so you can actually just coast and they'll drag you along. And there's another builder right there.
Successfully docked.
So what we're gonna do is hire this building ship for our station, because we didn't have one before. Let's go to our station, go back to plan build, and we go down here to hire a builder, assign and hire a builder. We know where one is because we're sitting on top of it. So we've selected him. Now he's assigned to us. He's gonna head over and build. So it will now start. Oh, good. So it already found the Claytronics and the energy cells that it needed in order to build our, looks like the dock is what it's going to start with. It just needs some hull parts. We're going to help it along the way here in just a minute, but the very first thing we need to do, well, before anything else, is go ahead and get our storage. So we tackled this builder and then we hired it. I'm assuming it's this one. Although I do see another one on radar, so it could have been that one. But that's what the builders look like. He's gonna head out there and they're gonna start building that station. Let me head back to the Argon. Let me center the camera here. The Argon shipyard in order to actually get the storage that we need and fix my mistake. All right, so we are back at the faction representative, and we're still doing all this stuff legally. So modules, let's go to storage modules. We're sticking to small modules, and I might as well describe it now. Then we've got the initial setup. We're just waiting. The reason you want small storage containers is going to be for pricing. You can set auto pricing. Your station manager will raise and lower the price based on the amount of supply that you have, and that will help you clear out your stock. When you don't have much in your station, say we don't have maybe about 20-30% of our storage is filled with ore, well, he's going to charge a little bit more for it. It's going to be a premium because it's a little rare. As that storage fills up and you get to like 80-90% of your storage full, he's going to drop the price way down, just supply and demand. Well, when he does that, as he's dynamically adjusting this pricing, it'll keep up with the market around you, and other ships will start pouring in and buying your stuff at whatever the current pricing is. And that's a good system to have, because then you don't have to micromanage. You don't have to get in there and set prices, come back an hour later and realize, oh wait, you're not selling anything, I need to lower it by 5 credits per unit, or anything like that. You don't have to do any of that tedium, because he'll manage it for you. If you have a bigger storage though, say you have a large storage, it takes a lot longer for him to fill up that storage. And so that dynamic pricing mechanic doesn't work very well, because he won't adjust pricing, and you'll just wind up with these surpluses of resources and you won't be able to move through them quickly. So you, for the most part, depending on the station, but for a lot of the stations, especially ones that are going to be doing all the buying and selling, you're going to want small storage on there, definitely for what we're doing right now. And since we're doing, now let me see what I have for cash. Yeah, we're not going to get into liquids right now, so we're only doing solid. So I want this small solid storage for 380,000. And there we go.
Good luck out there.
Thank you. So let's head back, and we'll get it started on... Well, actually, we don't even need to head back. Let me head back towards my ship. But we can actually, now that we've got the station placed, we can manage it from right here. All right, so we're sitting on our ship. We're in the Argonne shipyard, and we can just sit right here now that we've got the lot down. So let's go to here, and let's go back to plan build. And now, if I go to my storage modules, I have my solid storage is right here. And you notice there's a visual difference between the two. So you can actually tell what you're building. Now I'm going to build it off to the side. I only want one. Again, we want to limit the amount of storage that we have so that the station manager can correctly adjust our prices. So let's go ahead and build here. And the nice thing is, because of this section, I can go in any direction I want to. So if I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I need more medium docks, it'll fit. I can just build all my docks off to the side, off to these sides, and I can build my storages here. And if later on I want to, start expanding this out for production, I'm able to do that. One thing that we are going to be missing though is, no, I don't want to do that. There we go, right click to get out of there. One thing that the station cannot do on its own is produce its own energy. Now, the only issue is that's going to be expensive. Now, eventually, we're going to want it producing some energy cells. And energy cells require that original type of storage. So I need container storage on the other side in order to store energy cells. If we leave it like this, we're going to have to buy our own energy cells, and we don't want that. Let's put the storage down. Let's see what that does. Let's confirm our module changes, see how it changes all of our values here for the amount of resources that we need. It needs more money in order to build it. And let's go ahead and accept that estimate. All right, so we've gotten our modules in place, and we're waiting for everything to start building. Now, you're gonna notice that consumed a lot of our credits. So we're down to about 480,000, and our stations are waiting for things. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can just kind of chill out. The game is gonna do everything in the background.
Travel mode deactivated.
We're gonna actually help it along though. Now, we don't have much money, so let me go ahead and stop here, just so we don't run into anything crazy. So we need a little bit more cash so that we can build more things onto our station, number one, and we'd like it to happen a little bit faster. So I'm going to actually get a transport ship that we'll then use later on for our headquarters as a subordinate, and we're going to help it along. The alternative to this is to simply, well, there's actually two alternatives. One is I could just go back to doing missions and start making money doing missions, and as I get more money, then I can actually have the cash to go ahead and buy it. That's going to happen regardless in the background, passively, but we can help it out by going out and doing things in the world and just forgetting about our stations for now. The other option, if you need cash right away, is you can go to your ships, and we're not really using this scout for anything right now, so I actually could strip down all the modules and sell the scout, and that would give us an influx of cash, and we could just do it that way. I kind of don't want to do that though. I like having all of these guys in place, earning money for us, and having a scout at the ready whenever we need it, so I don't want to do that either. The third option, which is the one that we're gonna do, is to buy a transport ship and then start hauling the resources around ourselves. As we're getting passive income from our miners, we're going to use that income and our transport ship to go ahead and supply our stations with all the stuff that they need to build. Now, we're going to keep it very, very basic. We've got a couple of options here. So if I could just go to minimums, this is the minimum here, 367,000 for the Ides, and I'm just gonna stick to Argon stuff. There's a few of them, but we'll just go with the Argons right now. Storage is about 7,400 cubic meters, which is a lot, which is more than enough for what we need. Or we can go with, which actually this might be the option we go with, just because I want some bulk. So yeah, this is 8,200 cubic meters. It's probably like a little bit slower, but this is going to be a base model transport ship. So let's do the minimum, because again, we need to save money. So we're just going to build the hull. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take over this ship and fly it to the spot we need it to be in order to upgrade the modules. Now he is missing hull parts. He needs one hull part. Okay, well... Let's go ahead and provide him with one hull part so that we can actually have our ship. So we can look at our trade menu. We put a hull part filter in. Notice that, actually there might be one in this. Nope, there's not. So we scroll around, we put hull parts in. This will tell us who's buying it and who's selling it. So if we highlight over it, if I put it over hull parts, it'll point to where that is. Now that's kind of a few jumps away. This is actually much, much closer. And it's right here. Let's scroll in a little bit further. And there we go. There's a hull part factory right there, one jump away, that's selling a few hundred of them for about 262 credits per hull part. So let's go ahead and grab those. And there we go. Okay, so it has the hull part, the singular hull part that it needed, and now it's beginning to build. So let me take a look. We're gonna fly this and we'll just do this ourselves.
Perseus, Vanguard.
Now I wanna make sure that excuse me, I'm pushing the wrong buttons again. Let's make sure our ship will actually just sit and chill out. Yeah, his orders are hold position. Sometimes if you've done things in the past where, say, you had him dock and wait somewhere, that'll just stick around in the system. And if his default is to dock and wait somewhere else, the moment you get up and leave this ship, he's gonna fly back to or do whatever behavior you had. So I leave him set to hold position, and he's just gonna literally just sit right there. And I think that's a parentage ship right there. So I think that's our ship right there. So it's actually just sitting here waiting also. So that's kind of cool.
Hello.
All right, so we don't have much of that's our boat. We don't have much of a crew.
Hello
this
there.
guy actually should be pretty cheap. So I'm just gonna start, and I'll do this sometimes where I'll just start collecting people as we go.
Thank you.
And assigning them. So he's gonna head over and he's gonna be part of the crew on this ship. And we'll slowly start as we find people that are like 1,000 credits a piece or something, or 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000. We'll go ahead and collect them and just add them to our crew. Now, because of the way we built it, it automatically came with a captain. So that's our captain here, and he's part of the crew. So he's gonna sit down in some of the navigator chairs. And then we're gonna head out. So what we would want to do first is take a look at where we are, where our stations are at. We've got some extra cash. I could upgrade this ship, maybe fly him over to one of these like equipment docks, but we're not gonna worry about that yet. We'll probably do that in a moment because I would like him to be a little bit faster, but I wanna do my first delivery before we do any of that. So let's get rid of the filters. Let's go here and see what he needs. He needs energy cells. Does he have everything else? Let's go to plan our build. He needs a few different things. So he's gonna need hull parts, energy cells, and Claytronics. Hull parts are usually the hardest thing to get, so let's go ahead and get him some more hull parts. Let's put our filter back on. We need hull parts there, we need Claytronics there. And then we come back out to the map, and you'll notice our filters are looking for these things for us. You'll notice Claytronics are super expensive. They're up here next to the equipment dock, so we'll get those in a moment. However, oh, look at that. That is extremely cheap price on hull parts, and it's right next to the Claytronics. Okay, let's do that. All right, so we are heading out in our new transport ship. Now, it would be nice to have a little protection, so sometimes you'll want to do these for miners or traders. I mean, it just depends, but we've got those two ships that are sitting around doing nothing, and so I'll show you how to set up just the most basic fleet in the world. So if I take this Perseus that we were using for our ship, and I right-click on the Mercury, so I've got Perseus selected, right-click on the Mercury, and I can say Defend Commander. Go to Alpha.
Joining squad.
And he just joined our squad. So he's gonna fly alongside us. And you'll notice now we have a fleet. So it turns it into a fleet. And we'll take our scout and we'll do the same thing. Defend Commander.
Joining squad.
And now we have two ships. They're not super powerful, but they're fine. They have two ships ready to defend us. So if any of these pirates start attacking, they're gonna fight back. Now, we're not gonna do a whole lot of fighting because none of us are very strong right now. So we'll probably just run. But that's how you create, I mean, literally the most basic way to create a fleet. So let me fly out. Let me get to that upper, I think, second contact. What is it? Second contact 13? Second contact 11. And we'll start gathering resources for our would-be station. All right, so we're coming in to dock at the, let's go ahead and slow down. We don't have a docking computer. So we're coming in to dock at the Argon equipment station in, bit over a little bit, actually back, then we do it a 0, then we lower. And then we're just gonna go a smidge over. There we go. So we're gonna land in, you'll notice it's a different experience. We were landing up here. Now we're landing here in these medium slots because we have a medium-sized ship. When we get into large and extra large, you're gonna see the outside docks are meant for those.
To welcome you aboard.
What we want to do, I've gotten a few more credits along the way as we were flying here, and yep, there's another 43,000. So our miners continue to make us money, which is amazing. We want to put some upgrades on this ship because our travel speed right now is like 1,100 meters per second, which is horrible. That is a nightmare. It was terrible actually making the way over here, so we're not going to want to do that forever. So let's get a better engine, number one. So that boosts us up to about 1,500 travel speed. I could just go with a travel computer or a travel engine. Give me a second to, that might actually be the best route to go because it's not like we're really fast. So it's 150 meters per second, or if I do with a boost speed of 1,100, if I go down here, then we're gonna get up to 2,000. Now we'll go with an all-around engine. For thrusters, not super worried about it. We can go combat, or I can save a couple thousand. I'm not really worried about, yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll leave the thrusters alone. Shield, it's a little more money, but we didn't have a shield installed because I was at minimum, but let's do the Mark II shield because it's a decent little difference. It's only like 1,000 megajoules for the total capacity. However, the recharge rate is almost twice when we upgrade the shield, and you get about 1,000 more, so that's actually kind of nice. Turrets, I would actually like to be able to defend himself. Let's see here. We got 2 turrets. We're fine. We'll go with the bolts. We'll get 2 of these. That way he's got some guns. We're gonna want a docking computer. We're gonna need a targeting computer. He's already got the trading computer. We don't need advanced scanners. We're not gonna do any long range scanning. So we don't really care about that. Consumables, we don't care. Service crew, let's get us up to maybe 10. That way things will be a little bit more efficient, especially when we're not controlling it. So that's about 200,000, which is fine. Let's go ahead and confirm that order, and it's going to take about a minute and 40 seconds to complete that, and then I'll hop back in. Let's go ahead and undock. and let's get out of the station really quick, and then we're gonna need to take a look and see where our station is at. Because we're gonna be making runs between 2 different stations. Remember, we still have to, you can see our wingmates are trying to defend us while in the station. They're that dedicated, which is awesome. All right, so we're out of the station. And let's see where our construction is at. This is our station getting constructed. Plan build. And he is actually doing really, really well. And we don't have the cash yet to build. Okay, good. I like this. So now he's got orders in place for everything that he needs except for 1 energy cell. We're not gonna worry about that. We'll give him an energy cell on our way back if we need to. So let's take a look at our other station. Now that we are well on our way in this sector, he still needs just about everything. Now, he really needs a subordinate so that he can go out and get stuff because he's not in the middle of any kind of major hub. But we can't help that yet. The ship that we're actually flying, in the end, is actually going to wind up being his subordinate, so we'll be able to use it there. So let's go get him some hull parts, and on the way, maybe we'll get about... Yeah, we'll be able to pick up hull parts and energy cells and deliver both of them to our headquarters so we can get that started. Okay, cutting back in here, just to give a little bit of an update, you'll notice that our docking station has finished. So, let me actually get out of here and set... I'm gonna set an auto... I've got a marker to a different station, but let me set autopilot.
Engaged.
There we go. So we can forget about this guy for a little while. He's an autopilot is going to take me to this I'll show you. This power plant here because I need energy cells I'm going to buy there. So I'm flying back and forth and completing orders and getting these ships or these stations all the supplies that they need. But in the meantime, our station here has finished part of the plan. So now it's building the solid and the container storage. So it managed to build the dock and it managed to build this little cross section here, and it'll just do each of these one at a time. So it's progressing great. I want both of these storages done before we actually start setting anything at this point. Well, actually, no. We can actually start to do this now. So because we have a dock, we can now get a station manager. Now, she's off in Grand Exchange on one of our ore miners doing the auto mining. However, she's pretty good. So she's got 2-star manager already, which is amazing. I don't even have to use any books whatsoever for her. So I am going to go ahead and promote her to manage a station. So work somewhere else for me. And then we're gonna right click on our station. You can always manage everything straight from here, straight from the map screen. Go to manager, assign it. So now we have a manager assigned. Now don't forget though, you used a captain. So you've gotta go to that ship. So this ship now does not have a captain. So what we need to do is go back to our personnel and give them a captain. So switch roles, go to captain, and see if there's anybody on a service crew that's ready to be promoted. Yeah, this is, well, decent morale, good enough piloting. I think I need 1 star. Well, actually, I might not even need that. But anyway, yeah, this is decent enough to do the auto mining. So we're going to have him work somewhere else, pick our ship.
Acknowledged.
So now he's the new captain of that ship, and so now it'll continue to do its auto mining and we don't have to worry about it. But we now have a manager for our station. He's continuing to do the autopilot, so we can just leave it alone for now, so it's going to take him a minute. So let's go to our station and we're going to go to the logical overview for our station. So I said we're going to be doing 2 different stations, and the reason that we're doing 2 is because of the way the game will organize both the miners, the transports, and the storage. It's not going to do an amazing job of sectioning off the storage. If I were to do, let's say I do silicone and ore in the same station, I have to manually set how much ore and how much silicone it's going to store at a time, but that doesn't help the pricing. Remember, the auto pricing is based on how full the storage is. Well, it's not going to do a very good job of managing that if we've got multiple things trying to pack into the same storage. So if you're buying and selling, it's a really good idea just to stick to one type of item in a particular type of storage. So we're going to go to select trade wares, and this is going to be doing ore. So we're going to start with ore for this station, and you can hit confirm. Now we need to tell it how to do it. So it's going to buy ore and it's going to sell ore, except we don't want it to buy from NPCs. We want it to only buy from us. So what we're going to do is set up a buy offer, and it's going to do its automatic pricing, which is great, but we're going to set up restrictions. So we're going to create a trade rule for this. So I haven't made any yet. So let's gonna do own faction only. So that's what we're gonna name it. And we're gonna restrict all factions. So it got rid of everyone except for us. And so we're not gonna make it the default. We don't want every station doing this by default when we do it. We just want it when we select it. So we're going to save the trade rule. And this trade rule says that we only deal with us. So for this buy order, we're actually going to, hang on a second as I mess with this. There we go. I have to get rid of that marker, and then own faction. So it tells us this has restrictions on it, and we're only going to buy from us. So when our miners come in, it kind of won't charge them, you know what I mean? But it'll only take stuff from our own mining ships, which is good. So the buy offer is done. Now we're going to create, and it's going to do automatic pricing. So we're going to create a sell offer. Now we want automatic pricing, and we're just going to leave it alone because I do want the NPCs. I do want the NPCs to come in and buy our stuff. And we're actually going to set selling ships. Now they can't. Oh, what is my guy doing? See him flying all over the place? It has a hard time navigating asteroids, which, you know, is kind of annoying, but it'll be fine. He'll figure it out. We'll come back to him in just a second. But you can see him flying around all over the place. But anyway, so we've set up ore. It does need money. We're not technically going to be paying ourselves anything, but the station will act as if we're buying the ore from people. So we're going to accept this estimate, and we'll give him, I'm actually going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to give him 600,000. So he'll have an operating budget of 600,000 credits. And then he's going to be buying and selling ore. Now, I did actually make a mistake earlier. I was thinking we actually needed energy cells, and we don't need any energy cells. So we're actually going to be okay there. Drones, let's do this. We're going to set up cargo drones. We'll give him maybe 10 cargo drones, and then we'll do 5 repair drones. And he'll go ahead and set those up on his own. And we already had, that added a little bit, like 20 or 30,000 to our station account balance request. But we had already given him 600,000, so we're actually okay there. So now now he needs energy cells in order to make the drones, but he didn't need it to buy and sell. So we're actually okay. So we have a buy and sell order set up for ore. And let's go back to, oh my god, this guy is still running around going crazy. Let's go back to the station and see where they are in the building plan. So he has his solid storage set up. Okay, perfect, so we're good. He doesn't have the container storage, but we don't care about that right now. So now that he's got his storage set up, the solid storage set up, we can take our miners. Now we've labeled them correctly.
Autopilot disengaged.
Oh, okay, so he made it. So he's outside of this energy cell factory. Let's,
Engine stopped.
I'm gonna stop the engine so he'll just sit in space right now. You can kind of see him in between the background there. We've arrived. So now what we're gonna do is take these auto miners that were in second contact, and we're gonna transition them into operating under our new station. So these two miners, these two ore miners here. And we're just gonna have these two collecting. We're gonna eventually need a third one to start selling, maybe even a fourth one, but we're not gonna think about that just yet. So these two ore miners are going to go to second contact, and we're going to have them mine for commander, and then go to Alpha, and then he's going to switch over and become a subordinate of this station. And you'll notice the Alpha groups, all the different groups of subordinates will be listed under the station. We're going to take the other one here, and he is going to do the same thing. He's going to mine for the commander. Now, technically, these guys can do ore or silicone, so they could actually gather either one. However, we've only set the buy order for the station. Let me go back to the logical overview for the station. We've only set up in our commodities and our trade wares for ore, so this station's not accepting silicone. So these guys, because we're only doing ore, the commander of the station, the manager of the station, is going to tell them to go get me more ore and bring some more in. And you're going to notice we've already got ships coming in to sell us ore. Now, we're not going to be paying for it, but these are going to stock up on ore. Now, we're going to need to have have a couple of people running out and selling this ore as well. We're not going to worry about that right this second. We'll come back to it in a minute. But anyway, that's the initial setup for our station. We're going to let that run for a minute, and I'm going to get these supplies gathered and get them out to our headquarters so that can get started in its build as well. Future Diamant here, and I wanted to go ahead and cut in and let you guys know that I'm going to extend this out into 2 different episodes. In filming this total, I wound up with about 3.5 hours worth of recorded footage. Now, editing down, obviously it's not going to be that long, but I don't want to make an hour and 45 minute or 2-hour episode, and I don't want to be cutting things out because I do want to actually show you guys everything. So what we'll do is I'm going to end episode 4 here, and we're at the stage where I have, or at least in the past, because this is Future Diamant, remember, we have finished the station, or the basic build. It's actually building, I believe the container storage is the only thing that it hasn't finished yet. Now we're going to be progressing to finish off our headquarters, which we're going to do in the next episode, and we're going to be doing the closing out of the beginner stage, which includes getting the very beginnings of the diplomacy feature up and running. So at least you'll be able to see that. So we'll do that in a 5th episode. That way I can give you guys all the information. But again, I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Thank you so much. We're up to, I think I'm almost up to about 300 subscribers at this point. So it's almost double from what I was last month. So that's amazing. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys on the next episode.